You were enrolled in something before you could even hold your own head up. Somebody weighed you, measured you, wrote the numbers down, and lined it up next to a chart a stranger built before you were born. You didn't apply. Nobody asked. You just showed up, and the transaction started without you. That's the first entry. Everything after it is the same deal, wearing a different outfit. Now, I want you to notice something about what I just said. If some part of you went, yeah, that's true, I'd bet you were tempted to call that deep. It's not deep. Deep implies you had to get it, dig for it, or earn it somehow. You didn't do any of that. It just got past the part of you that argues before that part of you woke up. There's a difference between something that impresses you and something that's true. Impressive things make you nod. True things make you go quiet because there's nothing left to argue with. I'm not trying to impress you. Honestly, I don't have the energy for that anymore. I'm trying to say the plain thing plainly enough that it doesn't need your applause to be true. That's the whole show. If it sounds simple, that's not an accident. It's because it is. So let's name the thing you were enrolled in. Every economy runs on a currency. The stock market runs on money. Social media runs on clicks. This one runs on a single belief. There is something outside of me that I need that I don't have because I am not quite enough. That belief has a name. The economy of striving. That's it. One belief. One entry point. Not 50 limiting beliefs. Not a personality flaw. Not even a chapter of your childhood you haven't dealt with yet. One sentence, wearing 1,000 costumes. Every self-help book you've ever bought was that sentence inside different cover art. Here's the part that usually surprises people. This isn't a broken people problem. It's also not a bad parents problem. It's definitely not a not enough self-esteem problem. Every person who has ever lived has run this belief. Every person alive right now is running it. This second. Including the guy with the podcast telling you about it. This isn't an accusation. I am not diagnosing you. I'm describing water. We've been swimming in it so long, we think it's just what air feels like. Think about how early it actually started. Before you could talk, you were measured. Length, weight, how fast your heart was going. Then, not just measured against, placed on a percentile, ranked against a chart somebody else built before you existed for a baby they never met. You were being graded before you had opinions about anything, including grades. Nobody sat you down and asked if you wanted in. You were simply entered. The transaction began the moment you arrived, and it never asked for your signature. And somewhere along the way, nobody can tell you exactly when you stopped needing someone else to hold the measuring tape. You picked it up yourself. You started running the comparison in your own head, on your own time, for free. Nobody had to ask you to keep doing it. That's how you know it worked. This isn't confined to one part of your life. It doesn't stay in your career or your body or your bank account. Business, religion, relationships, fitness, parenting, art, entertainment, government. Anywhere people gather, compete, compare, or try to get better, that belief is running the room. It just wears a different uniform. In the gym, it sounds like a number on a scale. In church, it sounds like a verse about not being good enough yet. In your relationships, it sounds like keeping score. Same belief, different costumes. That's why it's so hard to see. It doesn't show up wearing the same thing twice. The belief doesn't need you to notice it to keep running, but you have a name for it now. And you can't unknow a name once you've heard it. Sit with this. If it felt too simple to be true, that's the belief talking. It needs this to be complicated so it has somewhere to hide. Next time, the ground this thing grows in, and why it was so easy to plant.